Hey everybody, it's Queen Jelly here and welcome to or welcome back to the Toy Box. This is a toy and doll themed YouTube channel meant for adult collectors like myself. With that being said, today's unboxing is going to be the first of 3 of the Monster High X Universal Monsters collab dolls. As of filming right now, this doll is still available on Walmart.com. We're going to talk about that a little bit in just a second, but I just want to express that I am so excited that she's finally here. We are going to be starting with the Mummy, which, funny enough, when it comes to like my monster collection, because I am a huge Universal Monsters fan, the Mummy tends to be towards the bottom of my like favorites list of like monsters just in general, like monster types. You'll know if you watch any of my Cleo videos, I kind of talk about it. Werewolves and mummies kind of are lower on my like monster scale. I'm more into like Creature of the Black Lagoon and like Frankenstein's monster and Dracula. Those tend to be more of my tops. So like the fact that out of the 3 in this collection, I actually think I'm most excited about the Mummy kind of says a lot. But I think it's really because I'm into kind of like monochromatic designs, and I'm really excited about the like gold detailing and like the mostly monochromatic design of this one. I did already open the box just so I could make sure that I had all 3, because I did order, like I said, all 3 from Walmart. And I had some shipping issues, so I was a little concerned when they finally did arrive. They've been here for about a couple days now. I just haven't had the time to sit down and film this, but I saw the post during San Diego Comic-Con where they announced the upcoming dolls, as well as they said that there was a small batch of these going to be available on Walmart.com, and then they would be releasing more to retailers later on. So it's kind of like how the Wednesday collection went, where they were online, but they were also in person. There's also going to be a Mattel Creations launch. Again, reminder that none of this is sponsored. I don't work for these companies. I'm not necessarily even promoting these companies. I'm just telling you what I think. But I will try and remember to put the link in the description for you to make it easier for you if you decide you want this doll. But again, this is not a promotion. This is not paid. This is not me telling you what you should or should not buy. Just being clear. But I do like to make things easy for you guys and put it down in the description if it's something that's still available or upcoming, like these are going to have a Mattel Creations release. For me, I ordered these from Walmart, like I said, the day that they launch. They have like super quick shipping. I don't know if it's just because I'm like Walmart Plus right now, because they had like a month where it was like $1 for delivery, and I did that so I could get my prescriptions delivered. But anyway, I digress. I ordered all 3 of them the day of the drop, and they shipped out right away. And then the day they were supposed to be delivered, they just said delayed with no updates. So I gave it a full 24 hours later, and I tried to use the chat bot, and the chat bot, of course, because it's AI, was just like, oh, they're arriving today, which they were not. So I waited a little bit longer, still no updates. So I contacted a representative and I spoke to them, and basically they told me, yeah, they're just lost at the shipping facility, so you're just gonna have to reorder them. Thankfully, they were still available, which is kind of crazy because like I feel like Mattel drops, like even like retail ones, usually go terribly. So the fact that like 2 days later they were still available and are now still available probably about a week later at time of filming, because I was worried about that because I was stuck in the chat and I couldn't see them. So I was like, well, I don't want you to cancel them, so that, because like what if I can't reorder them and like these are just gonna eventually show up. So I left the chat. I found that they were still available to order, and it said like next day delivery. So I went back into the chat, said, hey, like I want to reorder them, but I can't because I can't cancel my current order because they think that they're shipped, so it's not going to let me cancel it. So he processed it as a refund, and then I went back out and actually ordered them. But by the time I ordered them, it was like 2-day shipping, which is still isn't terrible, but it's just like frustrating when they were already supposed to be there now 3 days ago at that point. So like, it is what it is. Again, that's why I end up not being able to get them filmed until now, but I digress. I think I'm done talking, so we can go ahead and get her open because I'm so excited. As you can see right now, she's still just in the shipping box, so we'll go ahead, slide her out. We're still covered in tissue paper, but we're going to go ahead and take that off. So excited. I haven't seen this one yet in person. Wow. Look. Look how beautiful. Oh my goodness. And then this amazing on the back. Yes, please. All right, well, as usual, we will go ahead and look at them on the desk a little bit closer, but I just wanted to show you them to you. Keep in mind, this, I do have some of the black and white dolls when they did that, but I don't have the Cleo, so like this is very unique to me, but I'm sure if you have the Cleo from the Real Drama collection, this one probably is kind of similar to that in the fact that it's this like black and white with like a yellow tone, but I feel like she had more yellows where this is more like golds. But again, I don't have that one to like compare for sure, but it kind of gives me that like same vibes. And I don't know, she's just so pretty and I'm so excited to get her open. All right, cool. All right, so here we now have her on the desk and I am so excited to get her open. But of course, first we do have to take a look at her box. So the dolls that are going to be joining us today while we unbox are my other Universal Monster collabs that I have. So I don't have the original Dracula doll, which I'll talk more about in my other video, but I do have the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I do also have Frankenstein and the Bride, which any of the dolls that are back here, I believe I have videos up on my channel. If you just follow the G1 style playlist, you should be able to find any of these that I do have videos on. And then I brought down my Real Dramas that I have. I do only have these three. These are all original Wave 1 Real Dramas. My area just for some reason never gets the Cree Productions. So like literally the only Cree Productions I have, and these aren't really Cree Productions, but they're kind of in that same vein, are these three and then one Frankie from the very first wave of Cree Productions. Other than that, it's been nearly impossible to find them in my area. So that's why I don't have Claudine or Cleo from Real Drama, unfortunately. These three I was actually able to order off of the Walmart website. Again, I have videos more about them. But I was very lucky to even get the three that I got. But again, I did bring them down because they do kind of remind me of this doll. So I kind of wanted to have them all together. So we're going to go ahead and go into the box details now. Then I will show a close-up of the doll. And then I'm going to come back for my final thoughts. We will talk more about it at the end, but do keep in mind that these are kind of Playline dolls. They're kind of like a mid-level between a Skeletor and just like a G3 that's currently on the shelf. So these are a little bit more expensive, but a little bit cheaper again than a regular Skeletor. So that does kind of factor into like the level of detail that I'm expecting from this doll. But anyway, I keep getting off on tangents, so we're going to go ahead and start looking at the details. So we have this amazing, beautiful box, which is kind of, honestly, in a way, a little disappointing because I was actually hoping to get rid of this box because I do tend to keep my Skeletor boxes, but I kind of need to narrow some of them down. This is just so beautiful with the Anubises here on either side, and then this skeleton with the wings here at the top, and you can also see a sarcophagus there in the background. On this side it says Monster High Universal Monsters The Mummy, and we have another skeleton with the wings on it. And then on this side we have some photography of our doll and another skeleton. And then here on the back we have this beautiful photography as well with the Anubises, and then the title. Buried 3,700 years ago in an Egyptian tomb, a cursed mummy now walks again amongst the living, bringing screams to the lips of all who gaze into its eerie and trancing eyes, wrapped in style so timeless it's eternal. The mummy hungers for the love it has lost, even if seeking it dooms someone to fate worse than death. The creepy skin-crawling tale is brought to life in frightening fashion. And then lastly, before we unbox, here is the top of it. All right. before I put it away, I just want to give you a closer up look at this box insert. I just think this design is just so amazing. All right, so first impressions out of the box. So the unboxing was about what I expected for kind of a simple box. It wasn't too difficult, but it also wasn't like super easy. Again, pretty mid-level. The only thing that was a little tricky was that she has a lot of hair and it was very spread out. So it had a lot of like ties in it. But other than that, it, again, fairly easy process about what to be expected. Things that I'm also noticing right away is this ring, which I did not notice. And I had kind of noticed the bow in the box, but like, it's just so cute and like so feminine. I just really love it. Again, kind of, we're going off first impressions here, but I'm seeing like a lot of detail in this, especially for it being a cheaper doll. Like, I'm not really seeing it being excessively less detailed than, again, some of these collectors that we have. I will say though, I still believe that a big proponent in how much detail we get in this collector is dependent on the IP. And I would say that clearly they have a pretty good relationship with Universal Monsters, since this is now essentially the, so we already had a previous 3. So this is makes 6 dolls with Universal Monsters. So I would say they have a pretty good relationship, which is why we can get some pretty decent dolls from them. So I'm just going to talk to y'all really quickly while I try and get these pins out of the back of her head. But for a little bit of a like fourth wall break meta moment here, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be testing a new format, specifically on this doll for 2 reasons. But one, it is kind of getting late here, so I do need to get to bed, so I'm not able to finish recording this all at once. But also, I've been noticing that I enjoy recording a lot more once I've connected to a doll. So what I've decided is that I'm going to do a format where I start with first impressions. We'll take a look at the box, the quick box overview, like what we did, and then again, kind of like what I'm seeing first out of the box. And then I'm going to take a little bit of time. I haven't determined if there's a set amount of time, but I'm going to take, even if it's just like an hour, and have the doll with me, kind of get to experience them so that I can really notice all the little details, and then come back and give you guys a more accurate like depiction of the doll, and then also finish off with my final thoughts. Depending on how much time I have recording, there may be times where I do the walkthrough of the doll first and then just kind of come back later with my final thoughts. But like I said, for today, we're gonna go ahead and for you will see the next clip right away, but for me, I'm gonna pause recording for now and I will come back later to do more review. But I will say her hair is super soft and I'm so happy with her so far. All right, and we are back. It's a little bit less than 24 hours later, and we're going to go ahead and get into her details. So first of all, she does come with a black stand. It's just the basic Monster High stand. Nothing to like write home about, but it is still nice to see the inclusion with. And with this being a more budget-friendly doll, I don't mind that the stand is the basic one. I'm just glad that it is there. And then for her overall vibes, we have a mostly pale grayish tone, but then we do have a few spots of some yellow. We also have this like bronze color, and then also in her hair is like a cream color. So she's not completely monotone, so that's kind of nice. She does also have dark lips, but again, we'll get to there when we get to there. But I just want to say that I really like the overall vibes that she gives, and the color palette is a really, like, it has subtle color changes to it, and I don't know, I really like it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go into her details closer up. So we will start with the shoes. They are this kind of bronze color. I think they're meant to feel kind of almost wicker like. We do have the wrappings over the top of her foot that go all the way up to her ankle with this little gap here in the middle. She has this really It's kind of cute. This little like strip here, it almost makes them have like that like split toe or like flip-flop type design. But I think it's kind of funny because she has these stockings underneath, so her toes don't actually go around this area, but it gives kind of that like illusion. I think that's kind of silly. There is no printing on the bottom, which is perfectly fine. I feel like that's more like a G3 thing that they're have those designs at the bottom, but I'm kind of used to seeing that more. I don't have a problem with it not being there, but I was just a little bit surprised. And then here on the back, we have these beautifully sculpted heels, which I wouldn't consider these to be object heels because they are just kind of part of the design, but I do believe they are meant to emulate the same sarcophagus that we see in the back of the box. Going up from her shoes, we do have her stockings, which are kind of this like sheer meshy material. They have a little bit of stretch to them. One sock has these extra like ribbons hanging off of them, again to kind of emulate the end of the wrappings and kind of stretch out that like look. She does have those all throughout her design to varying degrees. What I think is really cute is I do actually have a pair of cotton socks that are printed with like mummy design, and they have that same kind of like strip of fabric hanging off of them. So I just think that is really cute. But anyway, they do have a hint of yellow throughout the design. I don't know if that's meant to emulate like sand or aging or both, but I kind of think it's meant to be like an aging to kind of make her look like the 700 years I think they said, or 3,700 years of being buried. It's gonna, you know, have some wear and tear on the materials. Now she is wearing a 2-piece outfit, so the top is a connective 1 piece even though it looks to be multiple layers, and then the bottom is a separate piece. In the back they kind of look connected, but that's just because of the way I believe it's just from the way that the Monster High dolls kind of have this like super exaggerated like body shaping, so it kind of pushes that skirt up in the back. But again, they are separately velcroed. The skirt is made out of a textured material. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but you can kind of see these like designs in it. I'm not sure if that's from the material itself or if there's something else going on there to get that like feeling, but it is very textured and kind of like a medium thickness. It's not like super thin like the stockings, it's a little bit thicker. But then these wrappings that are hanging off the front and off the side are the same like stretchy material as the stockings. I'm trying to do my best to like isolate the wrappings for the individual clothes pieces, but it's kind of hard because again they are all over the place. But I do really like the texture that they gave this skirt. And then again, it has that kind of slight yellow aging to it. Next up is going to be her belt, which is a plastic piece here. It is molded to emulate the wrappings as well. And then there is this gold face here at the center, which, forgive me, I'm not familiar with what that is. I'm not sure if that's a reference that I'm missing or what. I did try to look it up, but I didn't find this exact symbol anywhere. So if you have any information on that below, please let me know. And then here is going to be her top, which does have kind of a corseting effect. Again, it is one continuous piece, but it does have layers to it, which is really nice. Also, even though it is a simple print, I am glad to see that the print goes all the way around. Anyway, so for the top here, like I said, we have this kind of like corseting effect, so it goes right above her chest, all in the same material as the skirt. So we have this like texture here. And again, of course, the mummy print. Then she has 2 of the stretchier material wrappings hanging off of her chest. And then we have her sleeves area here. So she does have a high collar, and then the sleeves are puffed. Down this sleeve, we have at the very end a single strand, or like a double strand. It's basically one piece that's been folded in half and then like sewn in. So we have one piece here, but on the other arm we have multiple hanging off. So she does have a very asymmetrical design throughout. So as you can see, like this only has it on the one sock. This is kind of favored to this one side of the skirt, and then favored to this one side of the shirt. I do kind of wish that the skirt was kind of reversed and had these hanging here because there's already so much going on this side.
but I think maybe the intent was kind of to blend these two parts together more. I'm not sure. But again, I kind of would have liked them to be a little bit more asymmetrical, but as it is, it's still a really fun design. And it kind of has a party streamer effect going down her arm. She did come with a purse, which I did know about the purse. It is the amazing little coffin design. It's so cute, and it does open here at the top. It is all molded as one piece, so there's not like moving handles or anything like that. But there is the coffin up close, including a little skull down here. And then here is the back. No painted details, but I really don't think this one needs it. I think it reads really well even without them. It also looks kind of more gold on camera, but in person it's very bronze. And then something that I didn't notice until I was pulling her out of the package was this ring, which is absolutely gorgeous. I am a little nervous about it. It is currently rubber banded to her, but like rings that are not attached do get me nervous. So it has kind of this like beetle-esque design to it. I believe it is meant to be a scarab. I could be wrong, but that is how I read it. And then as you can see underneath her ring, she also has painted nails. They are painted in the same like goldy bronze, which I just think that that's just such a lovely like attention to detail. And then of course we come up to her face, which has this amazing makeup. Now mine does have a little bit difficulty with positioning her head. I don't know if that's just mine or if it's this sculpt, but I can't really get it to flex at all. It can turn side to side, but like up and down, it does not really move. I don't feel like that's typically an issue with my Monster High dolls. They usually have a good amount of up and down and then side to side. So again, I don't know if that's a sculpt thing or if that's an issue with my specific doll. But again, you can kind of see that it kind of just bounces back into place when I try and pose it. Obviously there's a little bit there, but it's not as cleanly as I would like. But I am afraid to do too much. Obviously don't want to break her. So I do want to point that out though. So for her face, she has this amazing makeup design. It's very simple, but it stands out so well against this like gray skin that she has. So she has a black lip with a gold dusting over the top, and then she has gold liner underneath and above her eye. Again, it's pulling very yellow on the camera, but in person it's very gold. And then her eyes themselves are this like bronze color, but the gold underneath really reflects into the eyes and makes them look more golden. And I think that's so beautiful, especially to get that on like something flat like this. To be able to pull off that look is just amazing. And then she has a little bit of gray shadow leading into her dark gray eyebrows. So obviously her like eyebrows tend to be in kind of a similar color vein to like their hair. But it makes sense to have these like really dark eyebrows, because if they gave her this like white eyebrows to match the hair, they would blend right in. So I do really like these like super sharp and defined eyebrows. I think they look really good on her and give her a really fierce look. And then for her hair, it is really soft and I've been enjoying playing with it. It goes just past her knees, and as you can see, it has a slight like wave curl to it. And there are on this one side a few kind of like beige streaks in it right up here by the top. She does have a side part at the top, but it is parted all the way through. And there is a little bit of extra kind of like bang going over here that you can see has that like little bit of tan in it, and it leads to this really cute bow that like, I don't know, it feels very, I really like how it pulls the whole look together. But to me, like, there's not really like any like super like frilly bows or anything on this design. It feels very like straightforward and like very adult to me. And then we have this bow that kind of brings in like a hint of like whimsy and like childlikeness that I don't know how else to explain it, but I really like it and I think it's really sweet. It is slightly painted gray, so it does have some detailing in it to emphasize the like wrapping design, and it has more of that fabric going into her hair so that it pulls the ribbon or the wrappings all the way up throughout her entire design. And I think that that is just really sweet and a really nice extra touch. Again, I can definitely see a world in which that piece doesn't exist and she has a much like fiercer silhouette, but I really appreciate its inclusion. And it's one of those pieces that it can come off. It is a clip and it can be reattached. Again, because it's a clip, it's not like it's sewn in or anything. So if it's something that you don't like and you would prefer the fiercer look, you can take that off super easily. But again, I really appreciate the like hint of femininity that it gives to her. Again, this is a gender bend character. I know we see a lot of them. I know they can be controversial, but I really think that it works for this line to continue that. The only doll that I think we've gotten that I would have liked to have not seen gender bend was actually get the Chucky doll, because we got the Bride of Frankenstein 2-pack that came with the male doll, and then the other 2-pack we got was Jack and Sally that came with a male doll. And so I feel like Chucky kind of breaks that mold by being also a femme bound, but I still love this doll.
Hey, sorry for the quick cut there. I was actually interrupted while I was filming, but that's okay. We're just gonna go ahead and finish our final thoughts over here. As a reminder, this is a $45 doll that I did purchase from Walmart, but will also be available through Mattel Creations at some point. I'm not sure when this video is going to go up, so I don't know the availability at the time, obviously, of upload. But I am very happy with her overall. Like, it is a all-around positive vibes that I have for her. The only thing that I can say, like, to find a negative is that the amount of wrappings that she has hanging off of her can get overwhelming at times, especially because I'm very like tactile with my dolls. I don't think it'd be like too much if you just have them on display all the time. And it's not like 100% negative. Again, that's just a kind of like personal thing if I had to find a gripe with her. But I really love her all the way down to her little details, like again, like the nails being painted. I think that's just such a sweet little detail. I am a huge fan of Universal Monsters, and I really love, again, this like chromatic design and like mostly grayscale. So like there's a lot going for her that I really appreciate. Again, all dolls are to taste, but she definitely fits into mine. So again, all around positive, and it's really nice to have I would still consider her a Skeletor. I know that's up for debate, and I don't think they say it like on the box anywhere, but I personally consider anything that would be a collector doll a Skeletor, just because that's just, you know, the kitsch way of saying collector. It's not necessarily like a line anymore. It used to be a specific line, but that kind of went away recently. So I kind of consider anything that you would consider a collector doll to just be a Skeletor. And I think something like this is $45, which is in the range of Playline. It's kind of like in between a Skeletor that you would get on Mattel Creations and a Playline doll that I would think more like in the $30 range would be like a high point for a just Playline doll. So 45 is kind of high for that, but that's why these are kind of, I consider as like introduction to collecting dolls, where they're kind of in between a Playline. They're not quite as detailed, they're not quite as hard to get, they're not quite as exclusive, they're not quite as expensive, but they are still high quality. So they're a little bit more expensive, but a little bit easier to find. So I do hope anyone who decides that they want this doll is able to get her. I do hope that with any dolls, but I think, again, these ones should be readily available, at least for a little bit. So hopefully if you want her, you're able to get her. Again, I am not affiliated with anything, but if at the time of this video getting up, they are still available, I will put the links in the description down below, just to make it easier for you guys, not as a way to encourage you to purchase if you weren't planning to already. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you very soon in the next one, which should be either Dracula or Frankenstein from this collection. I will decide shortly. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye.